Hello, 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 and welcome back, my beautiful, wonderful, amazing, shimmering, glimmering beams of moonlight. I am so happy and excited to be back for another Tuesday episode with y'all again here on the podcast. Welcome to the Reddit Asks Us podcast. This is the podcast where we read and react from r/Askreddit, comments from r/Askreddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, remember to comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating and also leave us a review. It helps us so much. And if you enjoy the show, remember to share it with your friends. Now, if you have something interesting to say or a comment to comment under one of the recent posts, you can go ahead and comment that comment under the most recent video on my YouTube channel at Reddit Asks Us, and I will read that comment out loud on the show. Now, the last little bit here has been kind of hectic. I came home from my home province of Saskatchewan over back to Nova Scotia, where I'm going to university, and I kind of was a little scatterbrained, didn't have a lot of time to read comments, and this week it was my first week of school, so again, I'm a little bit all over the place, so I apologize for not reading out a ton of comments in the last little short term here. Things have just been a little bit hectic, but that does not mean that I'm going to leave you stranded. I am here and ready to read some Reddit. I actually have been looking forward to this because it's a little bit of just a break from everything, and it's fun to just, again, go through the comments with y'all and, see what people have to say on our wonderful platform of Reddit. All right. So, what's funny is I feel like Reddit only comes up in popular culture when it's like when people are roasting Reddit or because of something like Wall Street Bets. It's always like these little things that hop up on Reddit that because Redditors are just like the most diverse group of weirdos and interesting people on the internet. Like, that's why I love you all, because you all are just so unique in what your pursuits are, and it's so fun to see you guys at work, and you folks at work, I should say. But anyways, so why don't we hop into today's episode? So what quietly went away without anyone noticing? This is very interesting. This is the top most upvoted question for this past week, and I think this is interesting because we're living in a time, and especially within the last, probably 150 years, probably, we're living through so much technological growth and advancement and innovation right now that, I bought something today that I was like, this just makes, I bought one of those, the food choppers, food dicers, to dice your vegetables and stuff. You just push the top and it dices all your vegetables and, whatever you want. And I bought one of those today, and I'm just like, this is just, why would anyone cut vegetables? This is just, every little thing is becoming obsolete. You can pretty much just make anything. You can market anything. It all can be changed in a matter of months. Even people design products and stuff. I always see stuff on Instagram, and that's new ways and new innovations to do things that you were just like, okay, well, and that's going to completely, makes some older object obsolete that I'm never going to have to use ever again. But it's just, we live in this time of such advancement that we're constantly seeing things go in and out of style all the time, and it's wild. So why don't we start off with Sweven Pan 3D TVs. This is funny. Like, we have a smart TV in my basement, and it was like the first smart TV we bought. It was like, I think it was the first TV that we ever bought that was, I'm pretty sure, don't get me, no, maybe it was the second TV that we ever bought that was an actual big TV purchase, because for most of my childhood years we only had, I think we only just had one or two TVs in the house, but they were old TVs from the 90s, maybe even 80s, I don't even know. but they like the giant boxes on the back of them, and the bottom one in the basement, like we never grew up with cable or anything like that. It was literally just public access, which is like 2 channels, which is just like in Canada, it's public access would be like CBC and CTV, so the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and whatever CTV stands for, Canadian television, I don't know. But anyways, they had the big boxes on the back of them, the TV screen wasn't flat, it was kind of rounded. But we did buy this smart TV. It was when I was, when I was quite a bit older, and it came with 3D glasses, like special 3D glasses you could watch the TV through. I don't think we used them once. It just be like, I think the people in the industry thought 3D was going to be a bigger thing than it was. I despise 3D. Okay, what? Why? Like, it is so annoying, especially when you're at the movies. 3D glasses just do not conducive to the movie experience. I'm eating popcorn, I got butter all over my hands, and get the glasses full of butter. Like, it's incredibly wasteful. Oh my god! Like, 'cause that's the thing, when this stuff is like introduced to us as like consumers, as like new products, like we never thinking about the pollution of all these plastic glasses. And for the longest time, people were throwing them out. It was only later that they brought in those, put your glasses here, we recycled them and stuff. Like, it's just all around, and they come wrapped in plastic, and it's just a terrible idea all around. 3D is the worst. Like, I watched The Great Gatsby, like maybe it was even close to a year ago or something, or at least longer than 6 months ago, and I was watching it on a plane, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, why is this, what is up with the cinematography in this? Like, why is there so much like weird CGI full of depth? And then I later understood that movie was like filmed so that it would look really cool in 3D, and a lot of the scenes would look really cool in 3D. But now, no one watches anything in 3D. It's such a gimmick. The 3D effect is totally not even noticed either. Like, by the time I'm like 15-20 minutes into the movie, I'm not even paying attention to the fact that something is 3D. It just goes over my head. It doesn't appear 3D to me. It doesn't, like, it's not a part of the experience that I notice when I'm wearing the glasses. And that's why I find it so redundant, because I'm like, god damn, when they're only showing a movie in 3D, I'm like, I want to see this movie so bad, but I hate 3D. I despise it. I will literally just wait until they're playing it through a regular theater so that I don't have to go and watch it in 3D. It's so freaking pointless. So of course now you guys can understand my disdain for 3D. Reply from Sir Solomant, what, I don't know. Curve TVs. Yeah, that is another one I remember going to like Best Buy and stuff, and the electronic stores, and like, I don't know, excuse me, I don't know if this is in the US, but we have this place in Canada called Visions Electronics. And that's where you buy, it's basically like Best Buy. It's where you buy a lot of like TVs and computers and headphones and blah, 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 blah. It's an electronic store, whatever. But yeah, I remember like for the longest time, well, not for the longest time, for the shortest window of time, I remember that maybe it was, I want to say this was around like 2012, maybe 2011, where they were really going hard with the marketing on these curved TVs, and they were getting everyone super hyped about these curved TVs. And I was thinking, I'm like, this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, because the whole gimmick was that they could bend the glass, right? Like they could project this image over bent glass or whatever. And I'm like, or whatever, they could bend the pixels or whatever. But it's like, okay, that's interesting, like that you can do that, but it's just, a lot of these things have no practical purpose. It's like, you need a TV screen to be flat because not everyone's watching it straight on. If you had this TV in your living room and I'm sitting on the couch on like the left side, I'm gonna be blocked. I mean, it's gonna be look the view is gonna look super weird because I can't look at it completely straight on. Maybe it makes a little bit more sense for like a computer monitor or something, because you don't really look at a computer monitor anything else but straight on. But I thought that was just like a really weird design. I remember thinking when I was a kid that it was cool. I was like, oh, this is so cool, but I don't even know why. But that's the marketing. That's how they get to you. It's just like, and then the kids and like, oh, mom, can we get a curved TV? And yet your parents are thinking like, why the fuck would we get a curved TV? That sounds like a terrible idea. That sounds like a horrible aesthetic choice. All right, let's go on. Next one comes from Gut Milton. Actual toys in cereal boxes and Cracker Jack boxes. This is that was a very short window of time for me that I remember there being something inside cereal boxes. And for the life of me, I can't even remember what cereal. Because first of all, I was never really allowed to eat to eat the sugary breakfast cereals. And to be honest, I agree with that decision by my parents. I agree with that decision by my parents because, I mean, it's like eating chips for breakfast. You know what I mean? It's loaded with sugar. But anyways, I do remember, though, there was a short amount of time. I can't remember what cereal it was, because every once in a while I'd get to pick out a good cereal, like a sugary cereal. And I do remember there being like some sort of toy in the box or some sort of thing that you're trying to find. But yeah, you don't really find that today. And you want to know why? Is because I think people overestimated the general IQ level of children. Like, someone is just going to pour that into their cereal, and if it's small enough, it's going to get lodged in their throat and they're going to eat it. You know what I mean? It's like kids, and here's the thing. Kids are clever, but that doesn't necessarily mean kids are smart. You know what I mean? Like, a kid being clever means that they're going to find ways to get to the sugary cereal. No matter how young they may be, they are clever enough to figure out a way to knock the box down using a broomstick or something. But once they start eating it, they will inevitably choke on a toy that's inside, or a raffle ticket or something that they accidentally swallow, and it gets lodged in their throat and they die. So, to be honest, I can actually understand why they don't do that anymore. Goof and as poof. Goof and as poof. Replies and says, and contests where you could win just by checking the packaging instead of scanning a QR code and making an account on fucking mountaindew.com. Yeah. Oh my god. Like, and the whole point of them making you get an account is so that they can auto check the box that says I will receive emails about this, because they want your email address. It's like, this is just me, and I know a lot of people are gonna be really mad at me for this. My email inbox for my like regular mail, like my regular email address, has like 13,000 unread emails. Like, it's mostly spam, and I just ignore all of it. Like, I know when an important email is supposed to be coming in. You know what I mean? Like, I keep tabs on important emails, and I'll recognize it because I get like a notification, and I'm like, oh, this looks like an email that, isn't spam or something. But newsflash, though, that is not good marketing for the younger generation. We do not care about emails. It's like, is that even a valid form of advertising? I feel like the more emails I get, the less I look at them. I don't even pay attention. Like, do you really think I'm going to buy Mountain Dew because of an email that I saw? Like, yo, bro, we've got to try the new lime seizure flavor of Mountain Dew because I saw this email about it. And I read the email, I was scrolling down. I was like, lime seizure, that sounds gnarly. You know what I mean? Like, holy crap, like, we got to try this. I can almost guarantee you that is a conversation that has never ever took place ever at all. No one like, and promotions and all this stuff. Like, I don't think I've ever used a email promotion before. Who knows? Maybe they're good. Maybe I'm getting some pretty sick email promos, where I get a promo code and get however many percentages off of whatever. But I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't care and I don't look. Email is such an old form of communication. Like, I wonder what's going to happen, like, my generation gets to be, like, people's bosses. Like, are we going to still be using email? Or are we just going to be, like, in the metaverse? Like, there's no need for email. Like, I don't know. I send you a holographic message or something through the metaverse. I literally don't even know. But I can't see email being one of those things that really sticks around. That's how I'm gonna know when I'm old. That's how I know when I'm old. Is that email when email is completely not even used anymore, is like completely obsolete, then I will know, because I will be young enough to have remembered email and using email and having email accounts and all sorts of stuff with emails. But if my kids make fun of me for using the word email, I'm going to be like, what has this world come to? What? Really, God? Really? Email? You had to take it away from me. Email. I used to make fun of millennials for not knowing how to use Instagram. And now email doesn't even exist. Yeah, I'm going to be crying. Newsflash, I'm going to be crying a lot in the future. My future definitely has a lot of crying in it. But you know what? That's okay. But I don't know if I've told you guys this story before, but that whenever anyone mentions contests and all this sort of stuff, I always love telling the story because it is the only time I've ever experienced this and seen it with my own eyes. But this was one of the coolest things I've ever heard about or ever seen in my life. It was wild. So, you know how people, there's contests and stuff that people win by, the whole QR code stuff, or putting in a code on some website online and you see if you won something or whatever. Excuse me. I feel like I think about that in the same way that I think about lottery tickets. I don't. If I'm buying a bag of chips that has some promo code on it, I'm just almost universally ignoring it every time. Just like lottery tickets, I don't know a single person my age who buys lottery tickets. I've never even heard of some person my age buying a lottery ticket. My mom, she buys lottery tickets as just a casual thing, just once a month, every so often she goes and checks her lottery tickets. My grandma gets lottery tickets probably every week. Every 2 weeks, she's got a little folder or a little binder in her purse that has all her lottery tickets in it. It's not something I've even ever thought about buying. It doesn't even occur to me to purchase a lottery ticket. Same sort of thing that I think when it comes to these contests, because I figured in my brain that it's like, whoever wins this stuff, it's a 1 in a billion chance I'm gonna win something from this bag, and even if I do win something, it's probably gonna be something lame, like a Doritos t-shirt. Like, I don't want to wear a Doritos t-shirt, you know what I mean? So I just never do it. But when I was younger, and I was in I think I was in the 7th grade, excuse me. When I was in about the 7th grade, we had a new guy come into school, and he was from Malaysia, Burma, whatever you want to call it. But he told us he was from Malaysia, and he was super cool guy, and he played on our basketball team. He was a great guy. He was funny. He spoke like 3 or 4 languages. It was pretty cool. He's a nice guy. And he had moved into my neighborhood, So, every once in a while, we'd take we'd take the bus together to school. We'd walk together and stuff. We'd hang out and whatever. But and he played basketball, so we taught him how to play basketball. So he played basketball with us. And I don't know if I said that already, but anyways, one day he comes up to me and he's like, "Luke, I have an Xbox now," and I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, there's the codes on the bag of Doritos. I bought a bag of Doritos over the weekend, and I put the code in, and I won an Xbox. And I was like, dude, shut up. I was like, there's no way you won an Xbox. And he was like, they're shipping it to me. I literally won an Xbox. And I was like, oh my God. There's no freaking way. Next week, he had a brand new Xbox. I think it was... When I was in grade 7, what year would that have been? That would have been like 2013, maybe. So, or 2014, something like that. So, I can't remember when the Xbox One came out, but I remember it was a brand new Xbox. And we played Grand Theft Auto together and COD and a bunch of video games. And I was like, and he would be in our chats and everything. And I was like, what the heck? This man is the only person who I've ever known who's nonetheless put the code from the bag of Doritos. And it was literally a bag of Doritos. Put the code in from a bag of Doritos. And not only put the code in, but actually won a freaking Xbox. Like, I thought that was just, that was out of my freaking mind. I was like, that is just unbelievable. All right, next one comes from To Fight the Night. Taco Bell used to have a Chihuahua as their mascot. Little dude just disappeared one day, and anyone born after 2000 probably doesn't even know what I'm talking about. Actually, I do know what you're talking about. I do. I think that commercial or that ad campaign lasted a little bit longer than you might think because, first of all, American, other than McDonald's and a bunch of other like Burger King and A&W, there really weren't a whole lot of American fast food chains where I was from, and it only started being later, but I do actually remember seeing it was whenever there would be like sports on TV, sometimes there would be American commercials or some types of events, sometimes you would see American commercials, and I do remember seeing a Chihuahua associated with Taco Bell, and it was, come on. How do you beat a Chihuahua? What's gonna sell tacos and Taco Bell like a Chihuahua? You want to get that Doritos Locos Tacos, really selling? I know it was a promotion, but now they've just been doing it for years. But you want to up those sales just a little bit more? You got to bring back the Chihuahua, man. Nothing screams buy Doritos Locos Tacos like a Chihuahua. You know what I'm saying? They're small, bite size little things. Just eat them up. Eat them up. Eat that Taco Bell. Something about just a Chihuahua and Taco Bell. You know what? When just something in your mind just makes sense. Just something makes sense. It's like, yes, Taco Bell and a Chihuahua. That just, it feels right. It feels right and it fits. Chihuahua Plumbing Company doesn't fit. You know what I mean? Chihuahua, an airline, it's like, why? Seems a little bit like you're trying to sell me on your airline because of this Chihuahua, but, Chihuahua headphones, like, what even is that? What is that? Chihuahua lipstick? Who's ever heard of that? No one wants that. Now, Chihuahua on a Taco Bell. Now you've got my attention. Gentlemen, you've had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. If anyone doesn't know that's a Django reference, please watch that movie. But yes, I actually do remember that that ad campaign, or maybe I've just seen it, repeated somewhere. Next one comes from Jonathan Karate. Movie trailers with that deep voice guy doing the voiceovers. In Tashu says, in a world where events happen, one main character walks the line between events and chaos. Gunshots and explosions. But when stuff happens, he must do the thing or risk losing everything. Bum bum. Coming this summer. Action movie. This film is not rated. Viewer discretion is advised. Yeah, that feels very like... I'm trying to remember movies that would have been something like... Some movie in like 2006. Like, what's that? National Treasure with Nick Cage. That's like a perfect... When I think of like movies like that. And someone I think commented that was... Yeah, here we go. Autumn Love 92 says... Those trailers died around the same time the OG voice guy died, but what really killed it was Inception. Around that time, movie trailers started getting dark and gritty and nixed the whole voiceover gimmick for something new. We can also thank Inception for most trailers using the noise as well. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. Edit. Some people want to point out that dramatic and gritty trailers always existed before Dawn, the OG voiceover guy who passed away in 2008. I never said that they didn't. I said once he died, the gimmick died with him. Inception came out in 2010, and that seemed to kick off a new trend of how trailers were done. Every decade seems to have their own trends, and starting 2020, we've seen a lot of trend of angsty song remixes with the female vocals slowed down to metronome of ticking beats. Let's see how long this one sticks around. Don LaFontaine is the man. Yeah, movie trailers now, you know what's the worst? Every time you go to the movies now, the trailers are so freaking long. It just is like, I don't even want to see this. Like, let me tell you this. Not only did I think this was just going to be a terrible movie, but it's The Man Named Otto with Tom Hanks. It's like he's classic old grumpy dude who, you know, in the end is going to overcome his grumpiness in some sort of way by being introduced to somebody who introduces him to new things or something. And it's like, oh, he's grumpy because his wife died. It's like just such a cliche, such a cliche. And the trailers for this movie made me despise it. It was so it basically told you the story. The movie trailers were so long. And this is what I think it was, okay? Over COVID, movie production dramatically decreased, right? Because obviously making movies involves a lot of people. And so the movie production started rapidly decreasing, and the theater going aspect of the movie experience was kind of dying a little bit because of also COVID and among other things. But it still stuck around. It did still stick around. But for the movies that I saw during COVID, since this is just my speculation, my theory, but when movie production was really tanking, they needed something to fill that time between when the movie starts and, the commercials, right? Between when you get there and when the movies start. So I think that they were just... all the movies that were coming out, they were just making the trailers longer. And this is not something I particularly remember. Like, I went through tons of movies in high school. I went to tons of movies in high school. And then I'm the type of guy who gets to movies early, man. I get to movies, I watch the commercials, dude. I just do it. Like, I hate getting to movies late. I've only ever been to a couple movies late, and I'm just angry the whole time. I'm very timely when it comes to my movie watching. I'm very diligent with that. But I figured that since not a lot of movies were being produced, they kind of needed to, advertise and exploit the ones that were coming out. And so they made these trailers super long. And it made me think, I'm like, why would you make the trailers really long? Why wouldn't you just cut the trailers the same length, but just make the time period between seeing the movie, getting to the theater and seeing the movie just shorter? That commercial period just shorter. And it made me really have a lot of, it told the whole movie. I'm like, I don't even want to see this movie anymore. It seems so dumb and played out. And that's exactly what that A Man Named Otto movie. I was like, this just seems so dumb. I don't even want to see this, man. This is just, ew, cringe. Yeah, movie trailers nowadays really suck, man. There's no point. And every movie trailer nowadays, especially like sci-fi stuff, starts with that sound that like it's like a gong or something like that, like a filtered out gong. Just cuts to someone like sweating, looking at somebody else, like you can tell they're under pressure, and they're just like, I can't believe we survived that. And it's just like, and then it cuts to like some big room with the villain, and he's all like, you all know what I have told you to do. I have told you to do those things, and we must go out and find these people and kill them. They will not get away. And his voice like keeps playing over cutscenes of other like stuff of the heroes. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking of Dune. That's just like what I'm thinking of. I never even saw the movie, but that's just what I'm thinking of. Like all the sci-fi movies all have like the exact same trailers. Anyways, buying a new game and having this one comes from Nevorar960. Buying a new game and having a thick, chunky manual filled with game lore which you would read before playing the game, and so heighten the anticipation of the game itself. I Drown My Fish 77. Well, we know who's a psychopath. I miss those so much. I remember my grandma buying me Halo 2 as a kid and then going out to a furniture store, so I just followed her around reading the manual while she looked at furniture. See, I wanted to read this comment. So I'm not much of a video game player, so I don't really can't really relate to this very much. But that comment made me think, if all these video games have all this lore behind them and stuff, and there's actual explanation to all the lore, then why did the Halo series, why was everyone so pissed off? And you know what I'm saying? Like, well, I understand why people were pissed off, but why would the hell would Paramount, or whoever made that show, the Halo movie or show or whatever it was, why would they be so like, why would they stray so much from the story that's already written? You know what I mean? Like, if there is all this lore behind Halo, you know you're going to get, because I understand they've got to make it wider as an audience appeal, but it's like, you really don't have to stray from the original content to make it appealing to people. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to stray wildly from the actual lore that's there. The lore that's there is often written very well. You know, the one thing that comes to mind is, like, you never really hear that about a series like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. Like, everyone says that, oh, you know, there's differences between the movies and the books, but generally they follow the same story pattern, right? Because obviously you can't fit everything in a giant book, and like a 1,000-page book, into a 2-hour movie, or 2.5-hour movie. But generally, a lot of people don't really, you don't hear a whole lot of complaints. But then you hear something like this Halo thing, and it's like, everyone's complaining. You know, it's like you can still write a good story following the lore and the events and the situations and stuff and the background and the history. You can still write a good story using all of that material. I don't understand why they had to make it whack, because that was the number one thing. And then sorry, I'm ranting a lot here, folks, but I also don't think that the people who sit on the boards of the movie, like, production companies really are in tune with the internet culture. Because, like, for example, like the Halo stuff, if you made it a well-made series and true to the, like, actual stories behind the Halo, like, game and stuff, you'd get much more people watching. Because, like, first of all, people on the internet, like, especially people my age, I'm 21, so, and people who are in, like, that 5 plus or minus year bracket, you know, age of myself, like, the way that we disseminate information about how good or bad something is known just so immediately to us, especially through, like, meme culture and Instagram and stuff. And so if something is disliked, especially Reddit too, Reddit's a good place for this as well. If something is disliked, it is very obvious how much it's disliked so fast. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's inevitable. And people aren't stupid. They appreciate good writing. You know what I mean? So people aren't just going to like sit there and be like, oh, I hate this. This is great. You know what I mean? This follows nothing of what the whole true story is like. But you're better off creating actually good quality content that stays true to the original source material, because people, and there's good writing and takes time, because people, especially in my generation, we've seen all of the best movies. We know what a good movie or show or TV series looks like, and we also know what one that's really terrible looks like too. Like for example, I don't want to use this as an example of something that was really terrible, but Moon Knight, that show, it just lacked captivation. You know what I mean? I don't even know if that's a word, but it lacked a captivating reason to watch it. It felt just very bland, and a lot of it was visual. You know what I mean? And yet the early Marvel stuff is all really good because it tells the story well. It has conflict, you know what I mean? It gets you invested and involved in the characters. It's a true origin story, right? Like the very first Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire movie, is amazing. You can still go back and watch it, and it's still a really well-written script. So, and you're going to get more people watching it, because people who wouldn't even necessarily like Halo, only just because they've heard good things about it through the internet. So I think these people are just too old, man. These people are too old. They don't get it. This is one thing that I like about Netflix, though, is that a lot of Netflix's series are actually done pretty well. You know, and they do make a lot of really popular series, because I think it's a younger company. The people who work on the boards of Netflix are younger than the people who work on the boards of like Warner Brothers or Paramount, for example, and these old movie studios, right? These old companies that have really old histories. The people who work there are all old. Disney, these people are all freaking old, so they're only wanting to put money in. I think Netflix is one of those companies that, not everything Netflix makes is a hit, don't get me wrong, but they do actually make a lot of really good series and a lot of really interesting stuff that is coming out, because they know that people appreciate good writing, people appreciate good material, and then that's what they're going to want to watch. That's why Stranger Things is so big, right? Stranger Things is really, really well written. It's a fun show to watch. It's entertaining. It keeps you asking questions. It's a captivating show, you know, whereas all the stuff that they're doing with like exploiting the freaking Star Wars franchise and all this stuff and all these new shows that are so terrible, and Marvel, it's like, man, these shows could be good, but they're not, because they're not taking integrity. They just want money. You know what I mean? But anyways, I digress. Sorry I didn't get through a ton of comments today. I spent most of the time ranting. But anyways, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in to the Reddit Asks Us podcast. Remember, this is the podcast where we read and react to comments from r/Askreddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, remember to comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating, and also please leave us a review. If you want to comment something, if you have an interesting comment, then comment it under the most recent video on my YouTube channel at Reddit Asks Us, and I will read that comment out live on the next episode. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the show. I love each and every single one of you, and I will see y'all next week. Peace out.